the beta is out. Opinions are, how do I put this delicately? Split. There are some people who, I'm not going to say there are people who love the game. I think there are people who like the game, there are people who dislike the game, and there are people who hate the game and want everything burnt to the ground.
You go to the screen in where you see it. There are, the dots to cycle through.
I've got the game open. That's what I'm looking at.
Okay, right.
Yeah, of course it was.
It's not immediate, and maybe that's a difference, right?
It is
because you because you have to wait.
It's a day. You can't wait a day.
You have to wait a day. Yeah.
So
before you just ask him.
You've seen Twitter, Aaron. People can't wait an hour, never mind a day.
This generation. I just kind of want a fun game that I can control my silly little computer men and make my silly little jokes, pay my silly little bills, and look at geese. And that's all I really want out of life. I'm a simple man, and this isn't really giving that to me yet, but it gives me little bursts of it when I'm in a match and I see something really cool, or I find a menu that I'm like, oh, actually that is better than in 24, and there are quite a few of them in the game that actually are.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the FM Show. I am, of course, your host, Tony Jameson, joined this evening by a full house of talent. We have the one and only Maggio, the fantastic SecondYellowCard, and FM26's very own RDF Tactics, aka Aaron Falloon. Fellas, the beta is here, and it's now time for us to give our thoughts. So if we go in a slight order, we'll do a quick check-in as to how we are, and then we'll get into it. Sai, I'll come to you first. How are you today? Your shirt, for the audio listeners, by the way, you're missing on this, your shirt very much screams happy.
Oh, it's Tommy Vercetti from Grand Theft Auto. Let's hope that game releases without any bugs after 12 years in development, right? I got the. It's from the non-league football shop. It's FC Maybank. They can do some really cool shirts. I think they got a Notorious B.I.G. shirt as well.
Ooh, yes,
just a little non-league team. Which isn't in the game. They haven't added any extra non-league teams. We're waiting for the databases. Let's hope for some non-league databases when the full game releases. But it's been an awkward few days for us little content creators, or big ones in some of the cases in the room. Although actually, for all of us, we've had pretty bumper weeks. So that's been a positive, and a big thank you to everyone who's supported us through that. But equally, as content creators, we've come in under a little bit of fire, I'd guess. And at the same time, we're trying to say, well, we have opinions. They might not match yours. To be honest, and I've gone back and forth while I'm playing this game. Sometimes I'm really enjoying it. Sometimes I'm livid, and that's, I'm a human being. That's like the natural progression of emotions.
Yeah, definitely. I think we will get into the roller coaster we've all been on. And bear in mind, it is worth remembering at the time of recording, this game's been out for 5 days, maybe 4 days or something. So it is still pretty raw. I mean, I know we were fortunate enough to do some alpha streams and some alpha videos and stuff as well. So there is that as well. But I'm with you, Si. I've gone back and forth. Even before we hit record, I said to you all, I think I've changed my stance again. And that's just in that moment. So there is a bit as we go through. Matt, how are you feeling in life in general before we get into the minutiae?
Honestly, life in general, bloody lovely. Things are actually quite pleasant. He's got a new PC. I still haven't used it yet, but it is built. I installed a GPU driver earlier. It was tremendous fun. Just like Windows 11. Why is my taskbar in the middle? All that kind of jazz. That's fun.
Don't start talking about different UIs. People get angry.
It's real. I can't find the training settings in Windows 11.
I can't find the start bar. It's just a picture now. What am I supposed to do? Aaron, what about yourself? Because you of course, you were flying the flag anyway for the show. You are, an official, football scout. You're working in the world of football, and now you've went one step forward with that level of fame, and now everyone's talking about Aaron Falloon, the scout who won't leave Southampton.
Yeah, that's a bit. The support on that has been mind blowing, to be honest. And I'm the same as Matt. I'm like, I can't complain about life. I'm absolutely loving it at the moment. Obviously, many people on X announced that I got offered a full-time role. Getting into Football Manager is like That's been amazing, obviously. So I just chose to be Southampton during my beta save, and things are over there. So you know what? Actually, we're going to speak about it later. But I done it twice. I originally started it about 4 days ago. So when it got released, and as you just want to get into the games, you just want to play games, and I was not having a good time whatsoever. So over the weekend, I was like, you know what? Let me just not play the game, and then when Monday comes, I'm just going to start afresh. Just actually engage with the game, try out the things, and play like a normal save. And you know what? Things did get a little bit better, but there are still some frustrations with the game, which I'm sure we'll get into later on.
Definitely. I should point out as well, by the way, for particularly for audio listeners, if I sound a little bit more gravelly than normal, I am sort of coming down with a bit of a cold at the minute. So occasionally as well, for the video viewers, I might reach to a box of tissues to just mop my nose a little bit. So throughout the record, it might end up looking like a teenage boy's bedroom, the amount of tissues that are lying around in this place. But never mind, we move on. So the beta is out. Opinions are, how do I put this delicately? Split. Very split. There are some people who, I'm not going to say there are people who love the game. I think there are people who like the game. There are people who dislike the game. And there are people who hate the game and want everything burnt to the ground. So I think in that spectrum of 4, I find it very telling, Si, that there's not many people in the love it category at this point. After 2 years, that for me is more telling than people on the other side of the scale. What do you think?
Yeah, it's certainly, yes. I think there are elements that people love. But actually, I mean, even on those elements, I've heard like nearly every part of the game, I've heard one person say they love it and one person say they hate it, right? You know, it's a real roller coaster. This game has been built for everyone and hasn't been built for everyone at the same time. You know, like that sounds like an oxymoron, but you know, it's built for everyone. But that also means some people who want things in a specific way are not getting it how they want. Which, if they've had it the way they like it for a long time, I fully understand why that might be frustrating. And I think this is one of those things that it's important to realize is that there's a lot of nuance in this. One of the things I've tried to do over the last few days on streams, on X or whatever, is gauge people's feedback on, okay, what actually is it you do or don't like in the game? Mm-hmm. And the thing I've noticed is, for the most part, everybody's answer is different. Nobody, well, there are people who have the same answer, but it's very split. It's like not the thing that's annoying you is not the thing that's annoying someone else. So every time someone says I hate the UI, I try to push them on it. I said, well, what do you not like about the UI? At least 50% of the answers are not actually UI. They're like something, either a feature that's missing or a feature they can't find, or it's something that's just like not the way that they would prefer it. And then sometimes it genuinely is the UI. And, it's a good percentage of those are like, okay, if it is the UI, is it because it's a bug? Is it because they've not finished the UI? And I think I want to come back to that. Mm-hmm. Or is it because it's bad UI design? And again, like, I think there's a split there. So when you got to start to drill down into why people don't like it, get past the noise, and there is some noise. And people can be noisy if they want. It's not particularly enjoyable, the noise, but there can be some noise, and then we because at the end of the day, every person wants a version of Football Manager which they like. And, unless we work out what people don't like, you can't get to the point where you work out what people do like. That's probably this is Football Manager by focus testing, isn't it? That's what we've ended up with. And that's what happens. You focus test everyone. You get a little sample of players in and ask them what they do get engaged with and what they don't engage with. And then people forget what features they actually use. How many people, when the chalkboard was said it was going, and maybe I'll push this to RDF, how many people, when they said the chalkboard was going, went, oh, that's fine. I don't really use the chalkboard. And then the game comes out and you're like, where's all my data gone? Where's the heat maps gone? Where's the pass maps gone?
Mm-hmm. So it's a difficult one again. So I did try. I've done a video on a chalkboard before, and a lot of the responses, they didn't actually know it was there. And I think that has been part of the issue as well. And sometimes I feel some of the excuses for things not being there is a bit of a cop-out. So I said it before, the international thing, it not being good enough, is a bit of, saying that is the reason why it's not in the game, was a bit of a cop-out because we've been screaming to improve that game mode for about 10 years. So if we were listened to back then, it wouldn't have been a situation where you've had to remove it because it wasn't good enough. And the same as the chalkboard, I think a lot of people just didn't realize it was there. And if it's not Football Manager's responsibility, it's not their duty to make content about it and make you aware of it, but it is one of those things. I think if people knew it was there, maybe they would have used it more, because there was good use with it.
Well, this again is going to be a point I'm going to come back to a bit later on about the fact that there is stuff in the game that you don't necessarily know is there and can play without knowing it's there, and the game doesn't punish you for it. So remind me to come back to that, because again, that's something that's been popping up. A few people have been commenting about stuff not being there. So I'm thinking about that. Si, you've made a great point as well about cutting through what we call the noise, like, because there is a lot of people who've responded with a very emotional response. I think, Matt, I'll come to you with this. Very emotional response. The game's been 2 years in the making. Like, we think that because FM25 was cancelled, people's expectations have naturally risen. Whether that's rightly or wrongly, we can't confirm or sort of quantify that really. But people's expectations have been higher this year. So sometimes that response has come from an emotional place initially. But as Sai's saying, cutting into, there is genuine critique and useful critique amongst these comments, but it's a case of finding it, isn't it? Because there's a lot of stuff that's just spat around, positive and negative, but in there is some useful critique, and we are trying our best to get to it and engage with it and understand it a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like obviously it's tough from a creative standpoint, because all I'm really seeing is what people are saying directly to me. And not even because I'm like specifically soliciting information on certain things. If anything, the fact that I'm not doing that maybe means that the information I'm getting is perhaps somewhat more organic, because it's just people saying, I have this thing and I need to tell someone. So whether that be in Twitch chat or otherwise. And what I've kind of been noticing is, instead of focusing on like individual things that people have said to me, I'm sort of noticing the more abstract of it. Like, am I seeing a few people saying similar, if not identical things that often are latching onto the same couple of things? And it feels like several topics have sort of branched out from that to me that kind of mimic some of the ways that I felt and some of the conversations I had with you guys and other people when we had a chance to look at things like the alpha. And it's things like immersion in the game world and stuff like that. I was really interested that I've heard people using that exact same kind of phraseology to me that I'd heard other people say before. And it was crazy, because I thought to myself, right, okay, so clearly this isn't just something like create a bubble thing that we care about and nobody else does. These are just regular users. And their they felt like the game was passing them by and they're in a bubble. And I think like things like that could probably be addressed quite, not easily, but there's things that could be done to fix that without tearing up the entire game and rewriting it. It's like relatively simple things with the way that menus are used and certain screens of information is shown. It's just like you say, it's cutting through and trying to find the gems in all that, because I feel like everyone's entitled to an opinion, of course, positive or negative or just neutral. And I'm a pretty milquetoast fence-sitter person. So largely I see the good, I see the bad. And I'm just trying to remain on the optimistic side, because if you don't, what's the point in it? Like, if we're not optimistic about the future for the game, then why are we all here, right? We like this game. We want it to be good. We just have to maybe try and get some patience out there and hope for the best, I suppose.
Yeah, I heard immersion as one of the things early doors, and I think I sort of sat and I looked at that phrase for a bit, immersion, and it kept popping up and it kept popping up, and I was waiting for someone to sort of explain what they specifically meant by immersion. Like, obviously I understand my interpretation of immersion, but it's difficult to find someone complaining. Sorry, let me rephrase that. It's difficult to see someone offering an objection about the lack of immersion when the game's been out for an hour. Like, I'm sort of going like, right, what have you not seen in an hour that you want to see? And this is why I'm thinking looking at it over a weekend now gives a bit more depth and a bit more perspective. And for me, the way that you and I, Matt, particularly we play long-term saves. Like I play Journeyman, you play Build a Nation. We want the world to be built around us. Aaron plays, like weekly saves. He's been and done. He's not bothered, right? But the bit that I think I'm picking up on now when people say about immersion is other things that are happening around the world, like within the game itself. So things are happening in the league, interesting managerial changes, news stories about players being linked, international tournaments. Like, maybe I've looked at that initially and thought, well, that's not a big thing because I'm like an hour in the game. Like, so maybe let me look at that when I've been a week in. And I'm looking at it now going, okay, yeah, I can see that. Like, I'm a bit removed from it. I have to click to find that, whereas before it was in my face a little bit. And I think that's been part of the comments is the stuff is there. You've just got to go searching for it now. And like we know Football Manager is an information-rich game. And sometimes if you're a new person looking at it, it can look a bit overwhelming because there's a lot of stuff to see. When they've changed it all around now, have they moved some stuff? Maybe you've moved the wrong stuff. Like, and it's that lack of customization. And if we then take it to the next point of the UI, if we just look at the presentation of it, like, are the right tiles and cards in the right place? Does that make more sense? Like, it's there, it's just not where you'd expect it to be. And I'm fine for relearning it, but make it a bit more logical. It's not a hide and seek.
That's exactly it. Like, I was trying to articulate this on stream earlier, and the best example I could come up with is the portal, because the portal in itself feels like it's supposed to be, well, a portal. It's a hub, because you've got your messages down one side. You're going to be spending a lot of time on this screen because you can kind of do everything from there. And I feel like it's actually so close to being a ridiculously improved feature over what was in previous games. But the rest of the screen is filled up with, you've got the stages thing, which is fine. And then you've got a fixture list thing, another fixture list thing, a calendar which shows fixtures on it, and a third team report / fixture list thing, and then a news bit at the top. I reckon if they got rid of most of the fixture listings, because honestly, I know who I'm playing next, or I'm probably going to find out in a minute when I press continue, or it's just on another screen. Just fill that with news stuff. Give me 3 or 4 boxes on there that are all different news article options that have the carousels fine, but just shove that in my face. Like, with Leagues in Focus when you went on previous games, just little things that just put stuff in front of you. So you go, oh, damn, I see. Harry Kane's decided to sign for Real Madrid. I was noticing transfers. I was like, hang on, when did that happen? Like, before, I felt like I would have known about that, even tangentially in the little thing that comes across the top. Just stuff that you see that's dotted around in the game.
Oh, yes.
It's just, you notice a little side panel in the transfer. Yeah, the processor thing.
Yeah, the
just
processor
little stuff.
So, I don't know if you've noticed, like, there's a skin out there, a downloadable skin. There's probably a few where you do press to continue and it's got, like, instead of it dropping down like the base thing, it's sort of like how it is now, and it feels like Football Manager might have taken some sort of inspiration from that. But it's funny that you mentioned the calendar thing, because when you do press the space bar, guess what pops up? The calendar. So the calendar is very heavy in your face, yeah.
I said this when we were looking at the UI. Sorry, Aaron. Like with the UI video the other week, I think, or when we were doing our alpha video, I kept saying I want that screen to be customizable, because what Matt's just described to me doesn't really work for me, right? Like, I don't want news. Well, maybe sometimes I do. Like, and transfer deadline day is not in the game. Could you imagine if on transfer deadline day your portal goes yellow? You've got like world transfers happening, like transfer rumors on the right.
Just
You've got like the status of your transfers at the bottom. But I also don't need the status of my transfers when we're in mid October, right? I need something else there. So maybe I want to put my injury list there, or maybe I want to put like opposition instructions, or maybe I want to have some. I want to be able to put what I want there. The news, actually, I found, so with that news portal right there in front of me, and when it's on the processing, I am noticing a few things that I probably wouldn't have noticed before. But I know that's like, so sometimes I am noticing things more. I'm like, oh, he's been sacked. Like the number of Amorim always getting sacked. I'm like, Ruben Amorim's been sacked. Like, I keep noticing it in people's saves. I'm like, I probably wouldn't have picked up on it before and noticed about 6 months later, Manchester United don't have Amorim anymore. Who's their manager now? Oh, okay, it's Eddie Howe. So like, for me, like that news thing works quite well, but I do understand, like, okay, you want a little bit more news, like maybe over on the right, or you want Leagues in Focus. And I think when you go on some of the other pages in the UI, you get the dots that you can scroll through. Yeah. Like that should just be, so where it's got the league table there, that one should also be the fixture list and also the result list. So you click it once, you get the fixture list, click it twice, you get the result list. Third, go back to the start, you get the league table, right? Or you have 4 or 5 things. And if it was more customizable than that, you wouldn't actually even need that. You'd just be able to choose the ones you want.
Yeah. And if you're like sort of big on stats and stuff, again, your portal could be like the sort of the key stats that are going on right now. So like it just saves you more clicks going into the game. Like, you're right, that has to be customizable. If that's a portal, if that's meant to be your portal, your personal home screen essentially, then you should be able to design that in your own vision, because it's your world. That's the thing. It's the main thing that I'm picking up from a lot of feedback and a lot of comments, we know everyone plays the game differently. Like, we know that, yeah? Like, you can't, I think it's already been touched upon before, you can't make the game for everybody. You can't design the game for everybody. You have to design a game and make it as accessible for as many people to play it however they want. Now, with that, there's a lot of stuff in there that maybe I wouldn't focus on. But that's not to say that it shouldn't be there. Like, just, it might have to have a slight little workaround. Like, what was interesting, we've said there about things not being instantly at the touch of a button, or like lacks a bit of logic sort of thing. Yeah. Friend of the show, Sweet Left Foot, has posted a tweet today, right? And it was about 7 o'clock or whatever this evening, okay? Now, he's posted a tweet that just says, by the way, here's where you find everything in the new UI. And I read the thread, okay? And out of the 10 or 12 things he's posted, 5 of them I didn't even know where they were. And I've been playing the game since Thursday. And I was like, the fuck's that been?
It is. So I think this is my theory. I think everything is the final layout of the UI, as it is pre-customization, because I think they are going to add customization, based on the interviews with Miles and everything like that. I think it's coming. I just don't think they had it ready. And I imagine they're under no option but to push this out earlier. And my advice to anyone who is like not convinced or not happy, like, refund the game, come back in or like watch it, because it could in 6 months be the game that you want. It might not, but it could be. It's up to Sports Interactive to make that change. But so I think, I see things like, so the top bar, there's a little box with an arrow, and that's meant to take you to a card, right? So the card is when it pops out, but you got to press the cross in the corner, because it's not quite full screen, even though some of them are almost all full screen, right? If some of them take up all the screen, so you've got to click the cross in that corner instead of the back in that corner, right? But some of them that have that icon take you to a page which goes back. There's what I think it's recruitment focuses, right? So that obviously was a tile, and they've turned it into a page. And I'm like, okay, so you've not changed it then. Or there's another bit. So under 21 training, under 19. I didn't even know you could do under 21, under 19 training in Foot Manager.
About an hour ago.
And like, I bet most people
put
didn't
a pin in
use
this
it.
for training, by the way. I'll come back to this in a minute.
Well, but for some people, that's like a big thing, right? They love doing the training of their youth team. Maniacs, I swear. But they love doing it, right? Maybe they're doing a youth development save or something. If that's what you love in the game, and it's not in the game, then you are going to be annoyed. But I think it is in the game. I think you just can't get to it because they've shuffled screens around. No, it is, Aaron. I'll tell you why. There is 3 reasons I can tell you it is in the game, okay? The first is you can delegate it to yourself, okay? That's one.
So I thought that. I said, that makes no sense. But then, just sorry to cut you off, but then in my head I thought, but in the options it says something about skinning, and we know that you can't skin.
Okay,
so
well, the skinning thing might refer
some
to
things
the
are
things,
like maybe the wording's still copied and pasted, but yeah.
You go to the screen in where you see it. There are, the dots to cycle through.
I'll put the game open. That's what I'm looking at.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
The dots to cycle through. I think it's on your. I think it's your squad page, right? The portal for your squad page, right? So you can see there's a tile for your training, right? Now, if you cycle through it, you will also see a tile for your training of your under 19, under 21s, and a trial for your training for your under 18s, right? But if you click on them, they take you to the training for your first. Actually, no, they open out and then they take you to the training for your first team. The third bit that made me think it must be in there is you can set the individual training for your under 18s. Why would you be able to set individual training and not the team training? So, like, those 3 things scream to me that it is in the game, or it was taken out of the game late and they forgot to remove the other bits. Like, I don't know why you would show the training calendar in a tile for your under 18s, your under 21s, if you had no say over it anyway. Like, just don't show the thing, right?
So mine's a bit unclear.
It doesn't tell you what they are.
So I am in my under 21s training, but when I click on the calendar, it's still showing my first team.
Is it showing your first team? That's what I question. Okay, when you click into it, it goes to the first team one. The way to tell is look for the difference in that small tile between the under 21 one and the first team one.
Yeah, but how do I actually get to the under 21 training?
You can't.
You can't, I don't think. That's the problem. I think it's in the game, but I think it's not accessible because they've messed around with the navigation. So right now, you imagine it like a link on a website, and the link is taking you to the wrong place.
Yeah.
The link is taking you to the first team.
Sorry,
So it's not like the feature's been removed. Well, it's possible it has been removed, but it's possible it's just a stupid bug and it's taking you to the wrong place because someone hasn't linked up the pages correctly.
You know what? It's in the game. It's a bug. So yeah, you're right. So when I'm clicking this little tiles, right, I can see the calendar here, and that's my under 21 calendar. But the moment I click on it, it takes me to my.
Yeah, exactly.
So it says that the next game is Birmingham, but that's the next game for the under 21s is Birmingham.
Yeah.
The moment I click on training, it takes me to the first team. So that link, they've obviously got the code, and the link is obviously wrong there.
There's so many things like that are just in the game.
So,
I haven't tried what happens if you search for it, Aaron. Could you do me a favor and search for it and see what happens? See if you can do under 21 training in the search bar. So, the search bar is a similar one, right? So many pages just don't show up in the search bar.
It's like they're not indexed.
Yeah, I'm like, what? Why is this page not indexed? So what I think is, so I think they're still deciding what goes where. So I think you've got your top bar. You've got, portal, squad, recruitment, whatever. And then underneath that, you've got your pages. I think like the ones that show underneath that should be the pages. And then anything in the more should be everything that you could have as a tile potentially. Or like, I mean, there are some things that I've clicked on that should definitely be tiles. Someone came to me and said, oh, I can't find, the scout priorities isn't in the game. And I went like, it took me about 3 clicks to find it. And I was like, it's there. It's just under recruitment focuses. And I said to me, that actually makes sense because how often do I change my scout priorities?
God damn it.
Oh, he's crashed on Aaron already. I mean, the bugs is a separate issue.
When you go
this is the
beta.
beta.
When you go into trading units, right, you got the little tile pops up, whatever it is, tile card, but there's no X. So now it's just literally in front of my screen and I can't actually get past it other than continuing the game.
Right, two thoughts, right? I was going to make one thing about something that's in the game apparently, but we can't access, but you've just mentioned X's. Is anybody else?
I can't talk about my exes.
Not the X's, not those X's, Aaron, not those X's. Is anybody else, when you hit continue and you see the card that pops up in the middle that sort of filters with the processing, because it's got an X on there, do you not just want to just click close on that? Because it's like a pop-up on a website. And it doesn't close.
Selling me erection pills.
It doesn't close. I'm just like, get out there.
Yeah.
So there's that. But the other thing that has sent a lot of people, I'm going to use the word doolally, where the hell's team meetings?
Yeah,
It's there.
okay. It's there.
It's there, but it doesn't work.
Only if you have the context to do it.
You can't click on it.
You can.
Okay. Believe me, I have tried to do it. I have tried to call several team meetings this week because my Southern team are not doing well. And I've found it. Shout out to Duke, by the way, for posting how you can get to it. Right clicking on your team name. And then, you got to show a bit of ankle and then say the password in Dutch, right? And then you click on hold meeting and then it goes, what meeting? And you're like,
I think you can only do it when you've got nothing to respond to no immediate responses to respond to in your emails. If you look at the top right of your screen when you're trying to do it, if it says must respond, if you've got one of those, then you have to deal with that first.
I don't have those.
I don't have that, and it's not working.
Right. That was my theory. Okay.
I have continue, and then I have everything is on fire. How do we fix this? And then I'm clicking hold meeting, and they're going, no speak English. No.
Well, I have held a meeting, but only because I didn't win a game for 10 games in a row.
Oh, the board have held several meetings with me, and not just to check on how I am for welfare.
Is it not prompted one in the emails for you?
Eventually, but like how you previously
you want to manually do it.
You could sort of put it in beforehand and go, right, this is not going well. Granite Xhaka, get the lads around the table. It's not happening.
It is a weird place to put it. Like, that should be a button somewhere. And again, it makes me think, well, has it been removed or is it just like not the button's missing from somewhere? So, like, this is part of the problem of the game. There's so many screens that go to so many places. Like, I mean, mapping the whole thing must be like a Herculean task for Sports Interactive that they should be able to do. Not excusing them, but it is a big task. And like, I just feels like we're 2 months off it being in the right spot. I don't know how you guys feel. Maybe longer.
I feel like it's one of those things where you've got to be optimistic, isn't it? Like, it's all of the things that I dislike, and there's quite a large amount of things I dislike about it because of just basic things like not being able to save and import scouting filters. like having to recreate them every time you want to go to the screen. Like that is mad to me, to the point where I'm like, surely that is just like, there's obviously something broken with a couple of filters that maybe they need to fix before they let you import them, because it might break it more. Because there's actually some of the filters that don't work at all. Like I've looked through so many of them, and there's one for, it's like a couple of the ones that require you to give 2 values. There's only one box. It's like, you want it between this and this, but you can only give this. It's like, cool, brilliant, lads. So I assume that that's the reason that's not in the game. I hope to God. But I feel like a lot of the stuff that is either broken or I dislike immensely are all things that could be relatively, not easily, but like they're not going to be things that you have to tear it up and replace everything. Like there are obviously going to be a few things that are just never going to be like to everybody's taste, sure. But it feels like a lot of the stuff that generally most people are complaining about don't feel like they're the most outrageous things to ask for in the game. Like, why has this not been completely overhauled and it works completely differently? Whereas in actuality, a lot of the dynamics underneath seem to be relatively the same. If you've ever done a team meeting, for example, hey, I recognize that text box. It's all the same ones from FM24 with pretty colors on the side, which in a way I actually don't mind because I like the familiarity of it. But yeah, it just feels like it can be. But the way I've been describing it and the way chat have been describing it is it's got a really high PA, but the CA is a little bit quite a bit lower than a normal FM release.
You've got your Jamie Vardy, you got Jamie Vardy, and you've got Jaden Heskey, right, or Kai Rooney, right, and you're like, okay, do I keep playing Jamie Vardy? Proven, but he's getting a bit long in the legs, not perfect anymore, lost that little bit of pace, but still going to get me solid goals, or do I take the risk on Kai Rooney? And
so
have a flashy
with that
youngster.
analogy, are we going to start playing FM24 Italia? Is that what we're going to start doing? Is that
down a Red Bull before you start?
Yeah.
I think and maybe this little bit of discussion gives a little bit of insight, because I have seen a little bit of criticism of content creators, and not many, but 1 or 2 comments on last week's video since the game came out, which was our alpha video, into like why our alpha video is that way. And like, why our discussions, someone said, you look like you're disappointed, but you sound positive. And it's like, it's because we're in a difficult position whereby we don't know, like we can't, when we're in the alpha, and actually, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to talk about anyway, because there are legal restrictions on what we can and can't talk about, which I might break now. Who knows? But
Go on.
You're lucky, chat. If I'll deal with it. It's not your problem. I called him chat. I've done an Aaron there. So let's say something is broken in the alpha, and the alpha is obviously more broken than the beta. Or a function is missing. We don't know at that point whether that is going to get fixed. We didn't know how old, because there is more than one build out there. We don't know how old the build we were playing on. So like some of the leaks we were seeing go out, for example, did not match what was in our version of the game. Or when those reports went out from the media and they were on about back buttons and stuff, and we're like, and then when we got to look at ours, and we're like, there's a back button there. Like, I mean, those, I can tell you those two because they're public knowledge, right? So it's very difficult for us for me, I just try to give like, okay, this is what's in the game. Here's like a little bit of my general feeling, but I don't want to impart too much on someone else. Also, because I don't know how someone else is going to react to this. Like, I will say, you 3 know, and maybe a couple other people know, my initial reaction to the alpha build we got first was very negative. I bounced off it 5 times. I couldn't play it. Yep. But I knew that like some of that was bugs, right? Crashes or whatever. And some people playing the beta now are having that experience, and they will be bouncing back off it. But now I'm at like 50, 60 hours. I'm loving my time on stream and my Portsmouth save. I've got into the rhythm, because the core gameplay loop is essentially the same. Play your matches, tweak your tactics, respond to urgent concerns, get your transfers in. And like for some people, that gameplay loop rhythm will be disrupted because there will be something that'll be part of that, like training.
Yeah, it's a fair comment, to be honest. I was the same as yourself. Like the initial alpha build, I was a bit like, oh, right, okay, it's going to take a bit of time to get used to. It's like, fine, I'm all right with that. And then I was like looking at it going, I don't know where things are. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Like, and then I'm like sort of thinking, I felt a bit of pressure because it was then like, we obviously going to make some content on it as well. So I was like, well, I'm going to have to learn it quickly. And I felt a bit panicky really about trying to sort of find where things are. Thought we had just about enough steer of it. And again, we were only allowed to use certain nations and certain leagues as well. So again, for me, there's a lack of familiarity. Like I'm using Premier League clubs. I don't manage in the Premier League. I can't deal with that. Like, and then like, so from the alpha into the beta, yes, we were starting like maybe 50 yards down the road from everybody else. Like, I don't think we were that far ahead of everybody else when the beta dropped. Like, what we were playing is not, it was different, but we didn't have much more knowledge. Like, I knew where a couple of clicks were, and that's about as much as I knew compared to everybody else. So when people were initially saying, look, you know, I don't like it, it's not me, I'm getting a refund, and I think Steam refunds were like 2 hours, and I was looking at this going like, but you're getting a refund over 2 hours. Like, this has taken me 5 hours to work out what I'm supposed to do. Like, you need to give it a bit of time to unlearn things, relearn things, then make a decision as to whether it's for you or not. And if it's not, that's totally fine. But I'm like you, Si. I'm about 30, 40 hours in now, probably a bit longer. I think we've probably been about the same amount of time. I'm having fun on stream, but I don't know whether I'm having fun on stream or whether I'm having fun playing the game. And that's something, again, that we'll discuss a little bit further on because I don't want to take up too much time. Matt, where are you at with things?
Yeah, I see what you mean. And I think that perhaps this is one of the things that maybe hasn't been articulated that well, in the sense that, like, we obviously did the alpha content on, what was it, Tuesday night we were streaming that?
Yeah,
most of
Tuesday,
us.
Tuesday and Wednesday, wasn't it? Yeah.
It wasn't as if we had like weeks to prepare for this with like a build to play on and make content on. It was like, hey, here's the build, off you go, basically. Yeah. Good luck, everybody. Like, and as a result for that, we were just sort of, and you could probably tell when watching some of our content mostly, that we're a bit flappy, because it's like you're thrown into this environment. You can prep all you like, but how much prep can you really do? I got locked out of my bank account that day, so I hadn't really done any prep whatsoever. I got off the phone with my bank 4 minutes before my stream started. I went, right, cool, FM26, let's go, baby. And just dicked about for a little bit, because obviously there was restrictions and things. And I think when it comes to like the relationship between content creators and developers, there's always going to be blurred lines. And I think you can interpret that either way, really, whether like having that access means you're likely to be more nice, or not having it means you're likely to be more critical. It's kind of, it's one of those things that as a content creator, I don't really care about, to be honest, because I know that what I'm saying is what I think regardless, because I just really don't think in the current environment with how things are that there's really any incentive to do anything else. It's not like, you know, if this room was painted in gold and it said Sports Interactive across the background, I understand that you could be like, does he really mean what he's saying though? But like, it's like, it just isn't the case, is it? You know, so
I named myself really after him, so there's that.
I mean, they're selling your soul and they're selling your name.
I mean,
rights,
I realized when it comes to like the relationship between, I could obviously, speaking for myself and SI, I've never felt like I've needed to butter up what I'm saying and be nice. I mean, I spent the whole of FM23, FM24 calling the game the S word. Literally, every time I lost, this game's I'm going mental at the game. Literally, I'm going mental at the game. How could they do that? I'm grilling the game. They've watched it, they've seen it, and they just think, that's how he feels, isn't it? But,
you know, to their credit, actually, I think they like honest, constructive feedback.
They need honest,
constructive feedback. I will emphasize that word, but
that goes back to what we said before, doesn't it? About cutting through the noise and getting to the actual critique. And again, you know, speaking to Matt's point there, we try, like, we are as honest and as balanced as we can be. Like, you know, we are authentic. You know, people will naturally presume that we're paid by SI, that, you know, we're on the, you know, we're given incentives. We're not. Like, as Matt's, like, look around the world, right? We're clearly not. You know,
I spent the whole recruitment episode criticizing FM and just grilling the game. Next week we had Miles on the show, so clearly, like the relationship doesn't. I mean, if I'm being nasty and telling him, he should lose his job, I mean that's a different thing. But I don't actually think that anyway. But that's just a whole different playing field.
Yeah. We're not under any creative control. Sorry, we're not under any creative control. We are 100% independent. Like Aaron, you and I will know there was a different time in a previous version of the FM show when we were under the New York Times. You know, and there was, and at that point, there was certain things we weren't allowed to say. So just putting that out there now, you know, now this is completely our opinion. Like, it is unfiltered and it is genuine and it is authentic. So, you know, take that as you will, really, I suppose.
Yeah,
Sorry,
so I just, you know, it's okay, because I wanted to talk about the Miles interview a little bit. And again, like, we obviously can't, legal reasons, we can't talk about everything. But, you know, in that regard, we're not, you know, the questions were our own. And even if Miles just spoke, like, which he did, you know, Miles likes to talk.
Questions before we
answer before, you know, and, you know, you might or might not, you know, we didn't push him on his answers or anything. But we're also not like, this isn't Guantanamo Bay. We're not interrogating him to find out the location of a bomb. Like,
exactly,
you know, we have to maintain a friendly relationship with him or the studio in that regard. Like, if we started pushing him on something, well, that's the interview is over and doesn't go out. And whether that means, okay, we don't do the interview then, or do the interview, like, as an audience, you have to realize, like, okay, this is what Miles is willing to say or not say. And this is the questions he's willing to or not to answer. Like, it's either like we ask, there's not a magic way in which we ask him deep questions about the failures of the studio, right? Or even if, maybe, actually, no, we were allowed to ask that kind of thing. You know, Jack asked those kind of questions. So it actually was, they were open about that. But it's like, if we really grilled him on some things, like, he's not going to suddenly give us the answers. He just cuts the interview and he goes. Like, you gotta balance these things up, right?
He has also said he's open to coming on the show again in the future with a bit more time to maybe articulate some more things. So again, we were given a finite amount of time for an interview slot. You have to get as much as you can out of that time. Yeah. So, you know, and as you say, yes, okay, some people have called it the PR circle. You know, that's what it is. Do you know what I mean? Let's not be on the bush. That's what it is. Like, the nature of any interview, you know, a new movie comes out, a new album comes out, there's a new tour. Every movie star and musician, they're doing the same interviews. You know, that's what it is. Like, but we were very, very glad that Miles chose to speak to us, because I think that shows where we stand within the community, and that our voices are balanced and reasonable. So that's where we fit, really. Sorry, Aaron, I cut across you there.
No, I was just thinking about today, because it's a weird place at the moment with my stream. Everyone's like, oh, it's so refreshing to watch your stream, man. You're so optimistic and stuff like that. I was like, boy, you did not speak to me last week at all. But it's weird because I think at that time, right, and then you do go on Twitter or you watch videos and just like, there's just so much negativity out there, and I'm not saying it's forced, but I'm saying, like, a lot of people have said the things that I've said anyway, or how I feel. So I don't feel there's a need to just keep repeating the same things. But I also said to my chat, like, I don't understand why I have to sit here and tell you not to buy the game and say shit, but then at the same time expect you to turn on the stream tomorrow and watch me. It makes no sense. Like, from a creator's point of view, it makes no sense. And I'm not here looking for, like, a quick click and just make this content so I want people to watch it because it's going to be drama and, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not really interested in that. I'm just playing the game. At the moment, I'm enjoying it because I'm winning. And I think we're going to get into that, but I think that's part of the issue, because when you're winning, it's easier just to dance and communicate with your chat. But the two streams before that, when I weren't winning, I didn't know why I was losing. And I think that is a major issue currently in the game. I can see it as well with people, when I'm watching people stream, they're losing, so they just automatically go on the tactics, just press things, just hoping for the best, because they don't actually know why. But even now, I'm winning, and I couldn't tell you why I'm winning. There's not like a certain pattern or whatever it is within the tactic. I'm like, see, look, that just keeps repeating. That's why this tactic's strong. It's like, I'm not actually sure why I'm winning these games. The goals look nice. The dribbling is fantastic, even though it's slightly overpowered. But I don't actually know why I'm winning these games. And that, for me, is where I get hugely disconnected because of the no pass maps and the no average position, that sort of stuff. That for me, just, I get so disconnected.
I know what you mean. Like, but weirdly, I feel like we've almost switched positions, because I feel like that was kind of how I felt a lot of times in previous FMs. But I've noticed with whatever, it might just be the luck of the save I'm doing right now, where I looked in there, went, right, I've got a 6'6" striker. In any other FM, I'd be like, well, he's never playing for me, is he? Because he's slow. I'm just going to build a tactic that's going to do whatever I want. But I went, no, hang on a minute. Let's actually see. Let's put this to the test and say, right, can we actually play styles of football that in FM traditionally have not been that effective? I was like, I'm going to lump it to the big man. He's brilliant. I can actually see. I was in a game and I realized, there was that bug where it would reset your individual instructions on players.
Oh, yeah, yes.
I actually noticed that all of a sudden my crosses were going to the back post to my shorter winger. And I was like, well, that's a bit weird. Why are they doing that? And I was able to see that the reason that we were suddenly losing games was because it had turned off one of my instructions to aim the crosses to my target forward. And it was weird seeing little tactical instructions that I was making in the game actually having an effect. And I was like, wow, I'm trying to do a certain thing and the game's actually doing it. But maybe I just got lucky because of the style of play I'm playing. But it does feel like it's there. But I totally get what you mean by where that's fine for when things are going well, because you can sort of go, I wanted them to score that type of goal, and they have.
Yeah.
The other way around, you do need that underlying level of data to be like, this winger's doing this, whereas the other one's doing this. His dribbles per 90 are way lower. I need that guy to be higher. But you can't see that by just looking at a match.
Yeah.
You need to actually have the data.
Oh, you're watching the full match, and I don't think people want to do that. But it's it like at the moment I'm using I've noticed today I've got 3 playmakers in my tactics. I'm like, I would never have recommended that previously, and I didn't even realize I was doing that. But I'm using a playmaking wing back and a deep line playmaker, and there's nowhere for me to see if they're receiving the ball in the right place, because they're my playmakers. I need them to receive the ball in the right places. I need them to receive the ball. Luckily, with the playmaking wing back, I can see he's actually getting a lot of the ball, and he's pretty effective. But with my DLP, I can't actually see what he's doing if he's because it's not a flashy role, right? It's not like a inverted winger where you can see he's gonna every attack he's cutting inside with the ball, whatever it is. It's a deep line playmaker, and usually something like that you would use the pass maps, and it's such a weird thing to take away from the game, which. Because I felt in FM24, pass maps specifically grew in popularity. Like, it was popular. Everyone was sharing it on their social media. Everyone's proud when they got these triangles and that sort of stuff. And I just felt like, why would they remove that sort of thing? Now, I think Sai said it earlier, something about maybe there's like issues where they can't implement certain things in the game. But going back to their communication, I felt that should have been communicated, because there's certain things that are not in the game and people are going into the game looking for it. And I just felt... I don't want to say like it's a reason or an excuse, but I think it does breed some negativity, because it's a shock, right? You're like going into the game, already you're going into it thinking this is dumbed down. Then the thing that you're going into, what you're looking for is not there. Now you're just like, yeah, this is definitely dumbed down. This is bloody crap word. And then, I think that's what just breeds some negativity. It done it for me, but when I took a rest from the game, and then on Monday I thought, let me just play the game, let me actually engage. And a lot of people got onto me about the recruitment episode, and rightly so, because this turns out to be my favourite thing in the bloody game. It's so weird. It's so weird. But yeah, that transfer room stuff, it's pretty awesome. And I think that replaced the Arts of Director of Football. Again, one of those things I'm like, where's Arts of Director of Football? You can't do that anymore. And I think that's just sort of replaced it.
Yeah, transfer rooms are much better. It's like a more fleshed out form of that, right? Someone's literally just asked me this. So I've done a YouTube video of a list of things that have been removed. A list video. It's not about the Epstein list. A list of things removed from the game.
Law's made that video as well.
Well, I won't tell you who's on it, but the big content creator you never imagined, he's there, top of the list, flown right in on the jet. So a list of things removed from the game. And I found out actually half the things are in the game, or they're redundant, or they've been improved. So that was actually one, right? So director of football, someone just said to me a minute ago, hey, director of football's gone. Why didn't you mention that? Or the director of football recommendations. Actually, it's transfer room. You go in there and the director of football is like there in the corner, and he's telling you, okay, let's make so what it's really doing is it's not immediate. And maybe that's a difference, right?
It is.
Because because you have to wait.
It's a day. You can't wait a day. You
have to wait a day, yeah.
So
before you just ask him.
You've seen Twitter, Aaron. People can't wait an hour, never mind a day.
This generation.
So I also don't know if it gives you... I haven't seen it yet, but I don't know if it gives you free agents or if only other clubs offer you players. So I want to check that
so
as
transfer
well.
room is more of a club thing. Yeah, good point.
So it'd be interesting to see whether agent offers come through that. I'd have to give it I'd have to find a way to make it so that there's like a scenario in which there's an agent who's a free transfer who's perfect for me being suggested. So that, whereas the director of football would suggest that kind of thing. So that's sort of been fleshed out. Like, you know, there are other ones, like someone said, oh, the reloading of the skin and the reloading of the cache have gone. And it's like, well, that's because you don't actually need them anymore. Or like the way to do it now is to close and reopen the game, which if you played old FM24 might sound cumbersome, but and this is a big pro in the game. And I know that apparently the patch today has fixed a lot, and there's a patch tomorrow. We're recording on Tuesday. There's a patch tomorrow and a patch on Thursday. And mileage may vary here based on how good your computer is, but the game is snappy. Like, it is quick at processing. Some people are having like lag on the UI, maybe because the rest of the, like, I think like sometimes the game is processing the thing before the UI is caught up to it. Actually, this is often a problem, right? So I see the next screen and then I get some stupid fade come in and out, and what is that? Why is that doing that to my eyes? Like, it's because the game already loaded the next screen. And you know, loading the game up every time I want to play it, I'm in my save in like within less than a minute. FM24 take forever. You gotta load, get everything in. Setting up a new game, like it's like 1 or 2 minutes for it to process your whole world and load it in. Simulating a season takes about 5 to 10 minutes. That's it. You know, it's so quick to run through the processing. Like, they've really streamlined that. I don't know if that means that there's less going on in the background. Maybe. I mean, but it might also mean that there's 30 years of spaghetti code that they've binned off.
It's 18% quicker to sim a season when you're in charge of a club with default 2 playable leagues on. I run this test every year as a benchmark, and it's from 24, it's 18% faster on my same PC, which is a huge jump. It went from like 14 minutes for the full season to 12, which is a massive jump when you're in charge of a club.
I thought it had gone even quicker, but I did notice that transfer window. So I think transfer window, maybe it goes a little bit slower. Yeah. When it's not transfer window, it flies. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like July, so the processing, most of the time it happens in June, July. And then like October, you're going like 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th. It's like going so quick. I was like,
let's not talk about the deadline day on the game.
One thing I did notice though, before Aaron goes off on about the deadline. Before Aaron goes off about deadline day, one thing I have noticed is when you are simulating holiday as well, what I've noticed is the fixtures don't update down the side.
No.
Like, so the results, so you don't know where you are in terms of like the season progressing. So you see the calendar at the bottom, which I suppose is one of those things where, hey, thank God we've got 18 fixture screens on the home screen, but you don't actually see any of the results populate as you're going through. So that's a bit of a bug.
You did on FM24 though.
Well, you did,
but it lagged.
But it depended on your skin as well. Yeah,
it was also laggy, so it would tell you the score, but about 5 minutes after you process past it.
There is as well a thing, and this is sort of one of the bits I was going to mention earlier, is the stuff I can't find, right? Okay, and there's some stuff I can't find that's not there, and I'm a bit upset about it. Bring back the squad comparison, please. Bring back the squad comparison, because I like that screen. Yeah, comparing other teams in the leagues. Like, I need that, right? If I'm journeyman, and I need that screen, okay? I'm not a stats nerd or whatever, but I need that, right? Pass maps, I like that. You know, heat maps, don't understand them, but they look pretty. Bring them back as well, yeah? What I need, right? What I need, and what I'm struggling with at the minute, okay, is that there's stuff in there, and people ask me questions like, oh, they've not changed training, they've not changed this, they've not changed that. And I'm like, yeah, but do you know what? I've never used it, and I've been all right. So I'm struggling sometimes, and maybe this is a me thing because I'm a 45-year-old man and I'm not a young whippersnapper anymore. Like, there's a lot of stuff in the game that if I don't pay any attention to, the game doesn't punish me. And I think this was the moment as the start of the new era to really punish me for not paying attention to stuff. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, to go, right, you're not doing training, right, well, all your players are going to be injured and tired and no one's going to understand. Maybe that is what's happening on stream, actually. Possibly now thinking about it. But, like, there's loads of stuff that because I don't pay attention to it, this just doesn't work. Individual player instructions, morale, conversations. I've not bothered with any of that for years. And it's not made a massive difference to me. You know? Opposition instructions, meh. Like, there's nothing there that punishes me in game for not doing it. And I feel as though there is a bit of just, once you understand, I think, Si, you said there, the flow of, right, where do I click on the UI? How do I get to my next match? Right now I've got to try and battle through a game without understanding how I'm winning or losing. Then cycle, repeat. Like that's where I am at the minute in terms of like the user experience rather than the UI and stuff. That's where I am. Does that make sense?
So something you said a minute ago then, which, well, a bit earlier on actually, but also just then you highlighted it, was like how much so I think you said like 5 hours earlier or whatever. I mean, this is something that, you know, people have come under fire for. Even Miles said it in the interview with us, and I think in Jack's interview as well, you know, it takes the user takes existing players longer to get into the game. And I have heard anecdotally from new players that they are getting into it much quicker because, well, mainly because they're not looking for things that they don't know are there, right? You know, they don't go, oh, where's that screen? Because they don't know it exists. So everything is that just a little bit more intuitive to them. And then I see the response, oh, well, if something takes 15 to 20 hours to learn, then it's not a good UI. But so my sort of like response to that is, well, you're not spending 15 to 20 hours learning the UI, you're spending 15 to 20 hours playing the game, and learning the UI is like a slow process as part of that, right? Like you're not sat there like examining the UI to work it out all those 20 hours. It's not an active learning process all the time. You know, some of the time you will be learning where it is, but it might be that you don't find where one screen is until you are 20 hours in, because at that point I finally found where that is. And then, you know, it's like, okay, now I know. You know, I have a good example, right? You know, we all use video editing software. I couldn't tell you how half of Premiere Pro's functions work, and I've been using that for 200 hours. No, I've probably used that for 2,000 hours now, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You
work on what you need, don't you? And you just sort of go, right, that's what I need, and then all these other bits and bobs, like that's not for me, really. And this is why I don't learn, you know, different languages as well. I'm not willing to put 20 hours in to learn it, so never mind. I could be fluent in so much, but
there's definitely like some bugs. Like there's some of its bugs. Some things are missing for sure. I don't know. It's, you know, there's some data stuff. There's some alignment. Like some of it is alignment and like visual. I think it looks cleaner. Like this is something I did say in my alpha preview. I used the word clean, which is true. I think it is cleaner than FM24. I went back to FM24 before today's stream. And you know, like, and you know, everyone says about, nothing's where like I think it is. I went back into FM24 and I went to do a transfer. If you go back into FM24, what does transfer? If you want to make a transfer, where do you go? What screen do you go to?
Or if you're trying to buy a player.
This is the thing, though. In football, in FM24, the good thing was that there's multiple places that you go to do transfers.
Okay.
Now,
generally,
it feels like you just go to recruitment. Whereas, like FM24, like it's weird to. I'll finish what I want to say later because it's a bit different, but I do feel you're just a bit locked in, and the roaming around bit is just a bit more difficult. So like 1 minute on FM24, you might be on the homepage. Next minute, you're on the Brazil under 21s. You don't know how you got there, but you got there so quick, so fluidly. What someone said earlier, now you have to search to do that sort of thing. If I ever want to get to Brazil under 21s, there's no way I'm going to just come across that.
Well, so that sort of reminds me of like, someone said earlier, the media description's missing. And my immediate thought was the only reason anyone even wants media description is so that they can add the column to the recruitment thing. Then they can get the list of Wonder Kids and essentially cheat the game, right? Like, actually, it's kind of good I actually think it's kind of good that I know there will be people who just want to cheat.
No, it's good. It's good.
It's good. Where they can go on FM Scout or whatever website, right? Yeah,
I would go player search in FM24. Is that the answer? The player search?
No, well, on FM24, it's not called player search. No, right. So you got your column on the left.
Yeah,
and you got two, and you want to make a transfer, right? And there's two of them in a little section together. One is called transfers, right? Oh, now do you know what? Scouting, right? You go to transfers. You're not actually going to transfers to do a transfer. You have to go to scouting and then across to the player search, like normally, because the first screen is just like almost a portal page, or like a priorities page. Is it scouting knowledge or something? The first page. So then you got to go to the second page, and that's already more clicks, right? Then you go down to your player. The player search is mainly where I do it.
Because I'm pretty sure in FM24, it's like you hover over it and like the drop down comes. Do you click on it?
No, you have to click. You have to click. Well, you have to click on the left, and then you have to go up to a top at least once. And then you can get the drop downs. On some bits you can get drop downs, but not there. So yeah, like I was thinking, because the first thing I did when I went back into FM24 is like, because I wanted to test the transfer, how it worked in FM24. I went to transfers, and then I was like, what am I doing? And like, it suddenly occurred, I'd almost had that jarring effect in reverse, right? Like going back to it, and I was like, wait, now I think about it, that never made sense in FM24. Like, I'm used to it. But why is that not either one thing, or why, when I want to go sort out players I want to buy, am I going to scouting? Which, there is an argument that makes sense, but also,
I don't know. Yeah, I think it makes sense. Maybe it's just the wording that don't make sense. Maybe that's what they changed it to. But it's the same like match day, right? Match day to me doesn't make sense because I'm not always in a match day.
No, yeah, okay. I don't agree with match day. Yeah. I think that match day one, that should just be called tactics, right?
Yeah.
Like everything there is tactics.
It's like they tried to be a bit too clever, a bit too cute with it.
Like, you've got squad, then you've got tactics.
No. So I was right. So you press the scouting button, go to players, but you don't press players. You just hover over it. So you're not actually clicking. And it just drops down.
Hover over it?
So if I go into scouting, right, so I press just the little scouting button.
Yeah.
First of all, if you're on the homepage and you press scouting, it just, there's no like transition.
No,
so
again, the transitions are nonsense.
So you press that, and then you go to the players, right? So there's overview, scouting, players, and you just hover over it, and you got players and range and scouted players. So you don't actually have to.
Yeah, then you have to click one of them.
Yeah, but that's 2 clicks. What? Like, the scouting thing, players, click. That's it.
Yeah, but on this, so I've got one. I don't even have one click. I've got one click. I hover over the drop down. I press player database, and I'm there. That's one click.
I say it's effectively the same.
Okay, it is. But actually, that was kind of a distraction. So, like, the point was, I went to transfers instead of going to scouting because my head, like, if I said, I imagine if I stuck my girlfriend in front of Football Manager and held a gun to her head because she wouldn't play it otherwise. I don't hold a gun to my girlfriend's head. She's my wife. I would call her my girlfriend.
I was going to say, my wife's girlfriend. Football Manager, you've got bigger issues.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be. If I turn up dead in a ditch somewhere, you know what happened. I called her my girlfriend.
So his wife found out about his girlfriend.
The other one.
Yeah. And she didn't like the UI either.
Oh, yeah. And I said, go make a transfer in FM24. Like, she's going to click on transfers, right?
Yeah. She is.
She's going to click on scouting.
She is, yeah.
I don't know her, but she is, yeah. Thinking.
Here's something that got me
thinking.
Sorry, go on, say. Yeah.
No, that's what it just got me thinking. Go on, Tony.
Here's something I'm struggling with. Right? Here's something I'm struggling with, okay? And it's one of those things, right? The match day itself, okay? Like we've already said, the match day looks nice, right? The graphical updates are lovely. Some of the animations are slightly repetitive at the moment. There's a lot of goals, and again, bear in mind this is beta. Most goals seem to be cutbacks. I've conceded 8 penalties in 15 games, which I think is excessive. Not everyone's had that experience, of course. But tactically, right, here's where I am, right? I know I'm not a tactics specialist. I know I don't have quote-unquote ball knowledge, right? I don't converse with the modern ways of the world, right? Okay? So, for me, in and out of possession is a head fuck. Like, I can't gloss it up any other way, right? I know it's the beta, so I'm trying different stuff as well. I'm trying to sort of like push what I can and can't do rather than just settling in as I would during a game. But my word, I am struggling to comprehend the ideas of how this works. Like little things, like when I make a substitution and I'm swapping a player from say right back to centre back because I'm going to bring someone else on, just remembering to have to change him on the out of possession tactic as well. Because the amount of times I've forgotten to do that is like frustrating. And Aaron said about things happening in the game and it's like reacting instantly. Oh yeah, it reacts instantly and you concede a goal straight away because you've not moved someone into a different side of the pitch. I had one match where it took me till 96 minutes to work out that my in possession and out possession were the other way around. And I hadn't worked it. I was like, now I know what's gone wrong. And I was just like 4-2 down. It's just, I just don't understand it. I don't understand what I'm doing in game. I'm beating the big teams, losing everyone else. And I'm just batting my head against a brick wall at the minute.
So I've not seen too many cutbacks. I think when I watched that Spencer Owen video,
what copy have I got then?
I was going to say there is a lot of down to the byline.
That was FM24 though. That was all I saw in FM24.
So there was a difference with FM24. I think it was more so how it happens. So FM24, you'll sort of be like a through ball would be played into a winger over the top. That winger would just like one time just cut it back across and then empty goal. Your centre back just sort of just doesn't even recover. But in this, it's like the winger goes on a 5-minute run, taking on 20 players, gets to the byline, cuts it back, and then it's just a simple tap-in. And that happens. I mean, again, it's different because I'm scoring like 8 goals in the game, so I am going to see some variety in it. But it is when I'm watching other people, and it's like, as soon as the highlight loads and the wing is down the byline, you sort of guess, you know what's going to happen from here.
Yeah, I think that's frustrating that even in a beta build, I'm predicting goals. And I've not had 1,000 hours on the game. I'm like, you sit there, winger picks the ball up on the halfway line. I'm like, I can tell you these 2 players are not going to engage with him. He's going to run past. He's going to get all the way to the byline. He's going to then walk past the defender who's come back to not tackle again. And then it's going to be put in at the near post or like smashed through the keeper's head.
And he gets the byline. He does that skill where he does like he sweeps the ball. Like it's a nice skill, but I don't think like my striker with 10 agility and 7 flair and 11 dribbling should be sweeping the ball past fullbacks that fluidly. Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. I've got my goals conceded types against here. So 25 of them are place shots, 19 are powerful shots. So let's assume that tap-ins, like cutbacks, will be place shots, right? 10 have been headers, and then, a couple of like free kicks and penalties. So it seems to be like pretty split. I will like look at the assist areas as well. Yeah, the assist areas, like,
my assist thing's it's a bit weird because you don't know what they count as a pass and a cross. Because a cutback, it depends on how it is. It's not always going to be the same as a cross. But on mine, it's like 53 place shots I've got compared to 25 powerful shots.
17 of 49 assists I've conceded have come from inside the penalty area.
I was going to say, look at the location, right? So I've scored how many goals? I've scored a lot of goals, but I've got 19 and 40 in that area where you would score a tap-in compared to like the 4 and 3 outside of the box.
And you could argue that's how modern football is. Like, we know that long shots are decreasing year on year on year.
I would say there'll be a bit more variety than that zone. Mine's just like literally in that middle zone.
So one other thing I've seen a lot of, and maybe you guys can back, I think I'm seeing a lot of skied balls from outside the box. Yeah. But I have a theory that it's showing those as highlights too frequently.
Particularly on dynamic.
I've turned dynamic off already.
I
never even touched that. Key highlights is long enough. Key highlights for me is long enough. It's weird. I don't know what's wrong with this save. I don't see that as when I was at Arsenal with players like Declan Rice and stuff. They were just skying shots constantly, but it's like they could never connect with a shot properly. So it was like, they'll just someone pass it to them and then randomly for the first time left foot and then just blaze it. Like, why would you do that? You're not even left footed, my guy. So yeah, there was quite a few of that. But I don't know. For some reason, this Southampton save, I'm seeing a lot less of that. It's still there, and a lot of this stuff as well, I feel this year, you see it with the AI as well. It's not necessarily just you. Like, I'm scoring goals with, I've said it before, like my centre midfielder is quite literally Ronaldinho because the AI just don't want to tackle him. But then the same will happen to me as well in the same game. So I feel like FM24, example, the woodwork, I feel that's just me. There's no way the AI hitting the woodwork 4 times in the game. But this way, I just feel it is a bit of an issue, but it's an issue both ways rather than just an issue your way. So it becomes... I don't want the game to become... That's the thing, though. So they've got all this high-level tactical stuff, but I don't want the game to become... Well, I just need to game the game. A bit like FM24, right? Like, FM24, you concede a lot of set pieces, so... I mean, I'm at a disadvantage if I don't use a set-piece routine sort of thing. So I don't want it to be like a thing where I was like, well, the AI dribbling a lot. I might as well dribble a lot because that's how I'm going to win the game. So I don't want the game to be going that direction after you've added all this high-end tactical stuff. But that's what it feels like. A lot of people just using dribble more. I'm not using dribble more. I've got 27 dribbles per 90, Tony. 27 dribbles per 90 is...
I think my team have touched the ball 27 times this season, judging by the highlights that I've seen. Like, honestly, I barely see us in possession. And don't worry, I am aware as well, by the way, that I go through this every single cycle. Like, every single cycle in the beta, I try a tactic I've never used before. I just try and understand how the game's going to work. And I'm almost not looking to fail, but I'm willing to take more risks in the beta, right? So I'm aware that I'll settle on a system when I get into my main save. But there is that thing of like, I just don't understand. Like we've said before about how you want the UI to try and beat you. I don't understand why I'm losing, really. Like, it's probably obvious to everyone else who's watching it, but I don't understand what I'm meant to do as well. And we've said in our own WhatsApp chats as well, the amount of times that the opposition is scoring within 10 seconds of the second half starting, or I equalise and then within 5 seconds they've scored again. I'm like, that's not realistic. Like, it just doesn't happen like that. And I know it's beta and it will hopefully iron out, but if it doesn't, that's going to be super frustrating going forward.
It is, yeah. It's happened to me a few times. I'm actually going to clip it because I think there's a bug where I score and then it shows the replay. And then when that replay's over, the camera just does it. And it's like,
I've got that. I had that last night. And I was like, and it goes to behind the goal, and I'm like, I missed the goal. What's happened?
It was earlier today. I was like celebrating so hard. I came back and I was like, what happened? It was 1-1.
So I had that. We just signed a striker. He scored. I had a striker. He scored within 25 seconds of his debut. We didn't see the goal. It just, the screen had gone blue. It said at the bottom goal. Then it went to the highlight of well, it wasn't even a highlight. It was just the behind the goal camera, and I was like, I can't click skip, I can't click anything, can't change the angles at all. Next thing that pops up, penalty to Crystal Palace. I'm like, of course it's a penalty to Crystal Palace. Of course it is.
It seems like my experience has been so far. Maybe I've just not played enough games yet, because I'm just having a lovely time watching my little computer men put high balls into my 6'6" striker. I'm pretty certain that like 60% of my goals have been headers just because of my beam pole. It's been fantastic. Like, I had one game we won like 5-1. And none of them were headers. And I was genuinely shocked because I was like, we were seeing balls in behind. My number 10 was making runs beyond him. And I was just like, wow. And maybe it's just that I just happen to have seen every single variety. And eventually the patterns will start coming back for me. But
yeah,
I just wish I could be more negative about this, but I can't. I just really
there must be something about target men. Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah. Early in the stream, I was like, oh, we don't win headers. And I sort of just forgot about it. And then one day, we played, I think Middlesbrough, and they've got a striker called Mark Gee. And like, Will's dominating the game. Every time they put the ball in the header, in the box, this guy's got a header. I'm like, what the hell? Clicked on his profile, I was like, jumping reach 7. I was like, oh yeah, of course. Like, it makes sense. And it was nice to see like their plan, whatever they were doing, worked. And I was like, I should just try something similar. So yeah, you might be on target man and wide men. They might be the thing this year, but it was funny.
And the one game that we, because I'm beaten in the league still in the Czech Republic, but the one game that we drew, they had a tactical setup that meant that they were pushed really far out onto my wide players and we couldn't get crosses in. And I was just like, wait, that's kind of cool, because that's actually completely neutered my tactic. And there's a couple of games where they come across these like back threes where my fullbacks and wingbacks can just get right in behind their like latent wingers or whatever. And they just leave these giant gaps and they can't get back quick enough. And we just rinse them. But it does feel like there's more sort of, it's like playing rock, paper, scissors with tactics. It feels like there's more disparity between the tactics. Whereas before, it kind of felt like there were certain tactics that are a little bit better, but it was more like Pokemon types. Whereas now it's like, you know, rock beats scissors, scissor beats paper, etc. And
it's weird, yeah. Everyone's like, gegenpress. I'm like, that just doesn't work for me.
No, I'm playing checks at football.
I'm in mid-block. I can't move from it because every time I try and press, they just use these outlet rolls, and then the moment we lose the ball, we're fucked. They just boot it to this outlet, and then we concede on the counter. But I do think this is why there's so many mixed results. I think I've seen someone like, how am I winning 4-1 and then losing 7-0 the next game? Because I think maybe your tactic that you've designed, it really just exploits one system, but then it really does get exploited by another sort of thing.
Yeah. When we've got a hammer, everything looks like a nail, but like the hammer only beats 4-4-2s in this case. You know, it might actually make people want to experiment with having multiple tactics that they flip around to way more often rather than just getting the like be all and end all tactic. It might secretly be brilliant.
Well, this was part of the thing I was trying to work out this week is, because I'm beating the bigger teams and I'm obviously not meant to, like, maybe my counter-attacking tactic is actually pretty good and pretty robust, but I'm not actually aggressive enough in the games that I'm supposed to win, so I need to have another tactic to go, right, I'm at home, I've got to force the issue a bit more, so maybe I need to just think a little bit more about it, which is absolutely fine, and if that's the way it's going to be, then great, I'm more than happy to learn that side of the game. But if that's the situation, come to me. I've got a counter tactic that can beat all the top teams.
There's no way of knowing, in it. That's just the issue. That's the not the issue, but that's the finish. There's no feedback. There's nothing for you to look at the game to find out. That's the reason why, sort of thing.
Yeah.
There is that menu that shows how you perform against certain tactical shapes, which I never used to use, but I feel like I'm going to find way more use in it this year, so I can see if there is genuinely a pattern like that.
Yeah.
And there is, of course, the thing that this could all be completely redundant when the full game comes out next week. So
it's cancelled next week. When it's cancelled next week.
Oh my days.
Because everyone hates it. We're taking another year off.
I suppose, Si, there you go. Should we start? If we start to wrap up, then, Si, what's your overall thoughts? Then, if we try and bottle it into
I think
in a distillery, where are we?
Yeah, one of my main thoughts is, I don't want to review it yet because it's not really. And this, like we said about the alpha, alphas aren't for reviewing, and to some extent the beta isn't quite for reviewing. But I get the point that this is very late in the day for them to be making changes. But I think, out of fairness, I'll give it a week because we don't know what's a bug. We don't know what's we also don't know what they can fix. I think as a founder, people said, okay, I said I'm not going to review. I'm going to give it a score right now, 6 out of 10. Okay, some people are going to come at me and say, oh, it's not a 6 out of 10. Who's giving it a 6 out of 10? And some people are going to say that is really mean. It's like a good Football Manager game, right? I'm not going to please everyone with that result. That's my score. The reason for it is, at the minute, there's too many bugs, but I'm semi-discounting them because it's the beta. There is some issues with the UI, but I think, again, a lot of those are actually bugs. They're fixable. I would like customization. I need my attribute colors. I need, I'd like the pass maps and things. These are all quite minor things. The functionality of the game is fun and I'm enjoying myself, and it is Football Manager at its core. So it gets a 6 out of 10. Is it a good Football Manager game? I think this is something that Workspace said yesterday. It's just not a very good Football Manager game based on what we've seen over 20 years. No, but like Matt says, it's that wonder kid with potential, but he's not quite ready for your first team yet.
It's got a fickle personality.
Okay. you got to train him up a little bit.
Model professional.
What about you, Matt? Where you at?
I think when it comes to things like FM, outside of just the pure doing it as a job and content creation, I just kind of want a fun game that I can control my silly little computer men and make my silly little jokes, pay my silly little bills, and look at geese. And that's all I really want out of life. I'm a simple man, and this isn't really giving that to me yet, but it gives me little bursts of it when I'm in a match and I see something really cool, or I find a menu that I'm like, oh, actually, that is better than in 24. And there are quite a few of them in the game that actually are better. There's also a lot that aren't, but I'm hoping that those ones get better and the other ones stay exactly as they are. And over time, even though maybe it shouldn't have taken over time, but if it does, brilliant. And hopefully we get to the point where this silly little man can have his silly little fun.
Nice. Aaron, where about yourself? Where are you on the silly scale?
Yeah, I'm the same. I tell my stream chat not to review it so much. Just wait until next week Tuesday, and then that's the actual full version. But I'm the same. I'll probably give it a 6. A 6, yeah, 6 out of 10. I think for how I typically play over the last couple of years, because things like pass maps and that sort of stuff wasn't always in Football Manager, but how it's come important for me to how I play the game recently, a lot of that stuff is actually just not in the game at the moment. And there's small things as well, like saving my squad selection. It's difficult. Like I'm at the point where sometimes I'm just playing the exact same 11 because I can't be bothered to clear my squad and then do it again, and that sort of thing, and not even being able to just declare the subs as well. It's another feature that I use quite often. You just either clear the whole squad and auto pick the whole squad. There's no in between. I can't pick my own restrictions as well. So there's a lot of things that were important to how I play the game, not quite there yet. So I am actually playing less games because it's taking me longer to do things. But match experience, I'm not fully engaged, but I do enjoy the little quality moments, like watching my players do flicks and tricks and that sort of stuff, and scoring nice goals as well. A lot of the goals are nice, and my in-possession stuff is nice. Out of possession, just want my players to tackle the ball, man. So that's all I want is a tackle.
Yeah, I think to be fair, I think you're all kind of like in the same camp as I am. If I give it a number, it's a 6 for me as well. To be honest, like I do feel that I know I've been saying that the tactical stuff is really, really tricky, but my word, I've celebrated some wins. Because I've been losing so hard, I've celebrated every single win I've got in this game because I've felt like I've earned it, and I've not had that from Football Manager for a long time. Feeling like you've earned a victory, so that's a positive. Is it a first step to be like a decent game in the future? Yes. Is FM27 going to be better? Probably. Is it perfect? No. Is it? There's one comment that I wanted to make a reference to as well. Someone's been saying about how it's like designed for controller first and then mouse second. No, like optimized for controller, possibly optimized, yes, but I don't think designed with that in mind. And also as well on that, my thinking is that that's a really good way for someone who hasn't been able to have the functionality of a mouse or a trackpad on their laptop. It allows them access to Football Manager that maybe they couldn't have before. So I actually think that's quite a good thing, personally. So I wanted to sort of say that as well, just as I was wrapping up. Is it fun? Sort of, in a way. Is that partly because of the fact I've been streaming it and having fun streaming? Possibly. Am I getting in depth like everyone else is getting? No. Am I going to? No. Do I really worry about some of the things that aren't in the game? No. Like, I'm turning up and I'm playing my matches and I'm telling my stories. For me, that's enough. But for everyone else, that's not enough. So I sort of get it, you know?
So that's the thing. Maybe that's where we disconnect with the, I don't know, do I call them the public? So
Audience, consumers, civilians,
I have no urge to play the game offline. I can only play this online where I have people around me. So now imagine those people who aren't content creators. So maybe that's where the disconnect is then. Because I'm like, it's not that bad. Whereas they're like, it's that bad. I'm bored playing the game. Maybe I would be bored if I played it offline too then. So maybe, yeah.
But I must say, this is the first game in a long time that I'm actually wanting to play offline. So that's my converse on this one.
Like, don't know how
I've
to
never
feel.
Do you know what I mean? Like I just don't know. I don't know. Like,
this is boring.
I sort of want to play this offline, but I don't at the same time. I don't know.
It's got me feeling some sort of way, and I don't really know how to explain it.
Literally.
I want the full game so I can. I don't really do offline saves pretty much ever. I basically, over the last few years especially, have basically only played FM while I'm making content. And that's fine, because there's enough of it to the point where if there's ever an itch to play it, trust me, it's being scratched. But this year, I want the full game to come out because I just really want to manage Fulham's women's team. And I just really want to do that. I want to play the game. And I'm like, oh, God, why is that happening? And it makes me think that actually, if these changes do get implemented the way that we hope they will do, there could be a really bloody good game here.
Yeah.
I just remember when I first got out, I was just scared to click buttons because I'm like, I don't want it to crash. I'm scared to press this.
I think we sort of touched upon it ever so slightly. Like, if the release date was December, and this is the final thoughts, if the release date was December rather than November, would people's expectations be managed better, do you think? Would some of the reaction be more reasonable? Or do we think it's just a case of, right, it is what it is and we've all kind of got to suck it up whether we like it or not?
Depends if they fix anything. Depends if they re-implement that stuff. Like we're expecting. Okay, my suggestion: they're going to drop these big updates. Apparently, we've got that, and we hope they do. But my suggestion is like, if you have to, ditch one of the big updates and just put stuff out when it's ready.
Yeah,
it's kind of what they're doing.
Be like, hey, past maps are in this week. Hey, we've added this like small update. Hey, this thing's back in the game. Hey, you can do this now. I hope.
I can't believe we didn't talk about shouts, but yeah.
Shouts.
I've been shouting at the screen. It doesn't work.
That's next week's episode.
Yeah.
Next week's episode is our saves. We're doing something light and airy next week. So this has been trying to get it all off our chest. Next week is, so what save are you doing? So we'll do that. Matt, what about yourself? Do you reckon if they had another month, do you reckon people will be more amenable?
I guess so. If we're like in an alternate universe where like there's a beta period that's like 6 weeks or something instead of the sort of average 2, then I think particularly I do wonder if maybe, because obviously we've had a big patch today and allegedly, well, not allegedly, they've said this, there's going to be a big patch tomorrow and a big patch the next day. If that was to continue over the next 11, 12 days or however long is left, and you saw the progress made between those two and release, and you could kind of go, wow, okay, that's a lot of stuff in such a short space of time. Where are we going to be a month from now, even after the full release is out? Could we start to get towards what we're actually looking for a lot sooner than we thought? Maybe that's, as you say, the December point could be the point where everyone just kind of goes, actually, this game, say it's mid-December, we're doing a podcast going, actually, this game kind of kicks ass now. Sucks that it didn't back then. But at the end of the day, people can still judge it on release, because at the end of the day, that's the release date is November 4th, and it can be judged as a product on November 4th because that's the date you have chosen as a company or a publisher to release the game, right? So anyone that gives it a negative review because of all things that are wrong with it on that date is completely valid as well, right? But I just hope it does get better, and I think that it will.
Yeah, Aaron?
I don't know. I don't think I would be able to live with that, because I'm already at the point that I just need the full game now. I want to play the full game now. I think the beta is just too much of a tease for me, to be honest. I just every time I play it in my head, I was like, I just want the full version. But also with these updates, it confuses me, because it's update today. Then, but what's the update tomorrow? Do I play the game today? Do I just wait until the next 2 days then to play the game? I'm not actually sure what to do in between, but I don't know what hotfixes are. What are hotfixes? Is it just stability stuff?
It's a huge changelog they put out. There's actually so much stuff in it.
Okay, so
which to be fair, we should also say as well is props to SI for doing this many changes in a short space of time on a beta. They could have just left it to be right, well, we've got 2 weeks, we'll sort that all out in the background. They clearly thought that a lot of this stuff needed addressed immediately based on consumer feedback, and if you do still see bugs, do log them even after full release, because every single game and software in the world has bugs even once it's released. So do keep reporting them, and then of course they'll work on them, and then hopefully they'll get them fixed. And even FM24 still had bugs, and the game's still available. So that's just the way it is. Okay, cool. I think that's been fairly balanced. I think we've been fairly sort of open with how we feel about stuff.
You guarantee, Tony, that even if we have been
everyone's going to agree with everything
balanced, it will be angry people one way or the other.
Yeah, exactly.
That's life.
Exactly. Okay,
we all paid shills, so what do they expect?
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Here's my closing thought.
Negative Nancy's.
The game is and you can pick and choose whichever choose your own adventure you want from this. This is the best FM ever. Yeah, it's all right. It's not really for me. Burn the fucking place to the ground. Have
that's two
whichever
more
view
options
you
than
want.
Kev gave.
Right? Okay, they're all valid. But yeah, if you want to see more of our opinions, Aaron, where can people find more of our opinions?
They can go to patreon.com/the FM Show pod. That's patreon.com/the FM Show pod, where you can support the channel from as little as £3. But don't just stop there. Make sure you type in the FM Show pod on all social media pages as well, where we can see your opinions, and we should engage in them, but just be a bit nice. Otherwise, those harsh ones, don't make me bite.
Sorry. He will bite. He will as well. Do not feed Aaron after midnight. Don't make him touch the sign. And what about Discord? Anyone want to jump on the Discord and tell people to join that? Basically, just repeat what I've just said.
The link's in the comment. The link's in the description. There you go.
And also do follow the WFM Show pod as well, which is our new sibling podcast, which focuses on women's football in the world of Football Manager. Episode 1 came out a couple of weeks ago. It was awesome. Episode 2 should be out by the time you've listened to this or next week. So go give them some love. Also, you can hear my voice is rasping up a bit. I'm going to go and what was that face? I'm going to go and lubricate my vocal cords, if you will. So take care of yourselves, everyone. Let us know below what you think. I'm sure the comment section will be absolutely fine. Speak to you soon, everyone. Bye now.
Toodles.